How of yours? Who are the real owners of power in Kenya? Today, I want us to focus on the term sovereignty. It's a term that has been used by politicians, more especially when they are doing their demonstrations or they want to pass a very clear statement to the government. Therefore, it means by the end of this discussion, we will be able to acquire the knowledge, especially from our constitution, what it means to be sovereign. So, sovereignty means public sovereignty is a belief that there is that ultimate authority vested in the people themselves. The term sovereignty can be used in very many ways. One of them can be individual sovereignty, that is the people's sovereignty, as well as the state's sovereignty, especially used in international relations, whereby there is that aspect that states are the main actors of international affairs. So, in this case, we shall focus on the sovereignty of the people. And to be more specific, the people of Kenya. According to our constitution, Article 1, it reads that all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised in accordance with the constitution. The people may exercise their sovereign power either directly or through democratically elected representatives. Sovereign power under this constitution is delegated to the following state organs, which shall perform their functions in accordance with the constitution. So in other words, the sovereignty of Kenya belongs to the people of Kenya. The power, the authority of the Kenyan people belongs to the people of Kenya. But it should be exercised in accordance to the provisions of the constitution. And we have mentioned that the sovereignty can be exercised through parliament and the legislative assemblies in the country, the national executive and the executive structures in the county governments, the judiciary and independent tribunals, and that the sovereignty or the sovereign power of the people is to be exercised both at the national and county levels. So, a significant question that arises from our constitution or from what we have just read for you: how do this be exercised by citizens in general? It's a question in which many people ask. But according to the constitution, it is exercised in two ways: either directly or representatives who are democratically elected. I repeat the question: to what extent are the people or the citizens able to exercise their uh, sovereignty directly, because through representatives and democratically elected uh, officers or officials, that one will be at least clear. Ways in which ways in which citizens can exercise their sovereignty directly. One, we have uh, through assemblies, of which one can say that they have not been uh, legislated very clearly by our parliaments as to what we mean by assemblies. But I think that when uh, people meet at Chivanje Gardens and discuss issues that are affecting them most of the time, that one forms one of the assemblies. It's an assembly. Parliament has not put it very clear what an assembly means. But from the term assembly, it means where people coming assembling together. So when we have the bunge la wananchi, then to me it becomes a way in which people express themselves directly to the people, because they are discussing matters that are affecting them most of the time. Just like it happened in ancient times in Greece, whereby men could meet one of the days from different areas and discuss matters affecting them directly. And those who participated in such a discussion were normally citizens and men. Non-citizens or foreigners were never allowed in such a discussions. Another way through which citizens can participate or can exercise their sovereignty is through the provisions which are found under the human rights chapter. Like now, demonstrations, picketing, a petition. Actually, one of the possible ways through which a citizen can articulate his views, his ways of governance, what he thinks ought to be done by the state, is through a petition. One thing I know is that if a citizen gives valid reasons on why he or she wants the Kenyan constitution or the Kenyan laws to be changed, our MPs, our members of parliament, are always free and they are always happy when ideas come in. I did such some times back, and I can confirm that our members of parliament, like Mwaura, the former senator, are always in support of ideas and they can change things. I did petition the chapter 6. I did petition chapter 6 of Kenyan constitution in specific to requirements in employment, but the reception, despite the fact that it appears there are always powers behind who intermingle with the things, there was good reception. So a petition is another way in which one can directly exercise his sovereignty. Also, another way in which you can use a petition to exercise your sovereignty is maybe by raising alarm. Like now, the issue of two-thirds gender, which is constitutional that we should have at least a third of either gender in every office. A citizen can always exercise his sovereignty by petitioning this either to parliament or to the judiciary. So we have a number of freedoms: media freedom, freedom of expression, freedom of association, freedom of movement and residence, protection of right to property, and many others as entrenched in our constitution. This one also can happen through representatives. Our sovereignty can as well be exercised through representatives. That's why we elect our members of parliament, president, governors, and others every 5 years. There, the aspect of sovereignty can be seen on that periodic elections, that after 5 years we shall or we must have an election. So that has got to do with the sovereign of the people. So issues of political rights are exercised there because the citizens have got a right to participate in an election. So we have the democratically elected leaders. We have, as earlier mentioned, that this can be exercised through state offices, state organs, which include parliament. We can be represented in parliament. Our MPs can make laws on our behalf. The National Assembly, the executive also do present us. We have the judiciary and independent tribunals. The judiciary is always at the forefront in ensuring that there is, or the government or the people are aligned with the laws that are protective and protect the Constitution of Kenya. Apart from those institutions, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, we also have commissions. We have about 9 commissions and independent offices. We have the Kenyan National Human Rights Commission. We have the National Land Commission. We have the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, the Parliamentary Service Commission, the Judicial Service Commission, the Commission of Revenue Allocation, the Public Service Commission, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, the Teachers Service Commission, the National Police Service Commission, and the independent offices, which include the Auditor General and the Controller of Budget. And of course, there are more other offices that have been created by the there are more other offices that have been created by the rules of parliament. We have several parastatals. All of these institutions that I've mentioned, be it the executive, the legislature, the commissions, and independent offices, should always work harmoniously so as to promote the common good of the citizens. In case these institutions do not work as expected, then they are doing against the sovereignty of the people who signed a consent with them so that they can act on their behalf. Another aspect that I tend to think it comes under the dialect. Another aspect that I tend to think comes under a direct exercise of sovereignty is the public participation. The next question that comes in is, to what extent the representatives of the people's sovereignty effective? To what extent is the representatives of the people's sovereignty effective? Is there any efficacy? Now, here comes the problem. We have mentioned several commissions that act on behalf of the people. We have mentioned several state offices, the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary, which work on behalf of the people, which are representatives of the people. But today do according to the will of the people. Take an example of what is currently happening in Kenya, whereby the people who have been sent or who have been appointed to protect the sovereignty of the people by providing the provisions, the requirements, and everything that will make the life of the people easier are the man-eaters. Today, for example, we have one of the CS being boiled in parliament. Why? Because he is in charge. He is a representative of the people in a most powerful ministry, which should promote employment in Kenya. Because I've said time and again that if there was to be any type of employment in Kenya, it should first come from the agriculture sector, because it is very simple to organize Kenya into agricultural villages than anything else. The housing project to me will come around fourth, but number one is agriculture. But do we have a serious man in agriculture? How does he represent the people of Kenya, the sovereignty of the people of Kenya, by contradictory messages on the fake fertilizer? How? Despite the fact that he was the appointing authorities, the president, he has been put there because of the powers, the sovereign powers that have been donated by the people, the inherent powers that has been donated by the people to the president, and through the president he has been appointed as the CS for agriculture. Therefore, to what extent can one argue that the CS is fully representing or protecting the sovereignty of the people? We come to the judiciary. Sometimes you find that there are cases of citizens which take 4 to 5 years, even cases that may even take a lifetime in court. Are they protecting the sovereignty of the people? When we come to the Police Service Commission, for example, people have given, for example, a notice of picketing and demonstrations, and then you find police coming with rungus and beating them. Are they really acting on their behalf? We have even I think there's one commission that we miss, and I wonder why it was overlooked. If we could be having that commission of nurses and doctors, maybe these issues could be at a reduced level. We have the Teachers Commission. Teachers, of course, are vulnerable. Next week, the schools are opening. No one knows whether they will be told that we have sent you the government has sent you our children, but no funding. So they are vulnerable in nature. Of course, they are also citizens who should be protected by the government of Kenya. We have the Land Commission. We have this Public Parliamentary Service Commission, where sometimes if you go for an interview, you find some funny questions. In the parliament also, you will find people working or doing the same jobs, but paid differently, ranging from 20,000 to 120. Another form of parliamentary colonialism. So, from that aspect, or from the few highlights I've given to you, what I can conclude with is that the sovereign, the powers of the people that are exercised by representatives in most cases are misused, maybe due to weak institutions. Thank you, viewers, and those who have watched this clip or this video for the first time. Kindly subscribe, and for those who are members, thank you for your support, and kindly continue supporting us so that we can always give the best of the best, more especially when making our people understand of their constitutional rights. Thank you.